Episode of our yet to be named video podcast.
We should come up with a name.
We should extract the audio.
Yep. If you guys have name options, comment below. Let us know.
Let's get some fancy names. So Mike D, cyberspace.com.
Kyle Battis from New Hampshire strategicmarketing.com.
All right, and this video shows it's for business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople, deciphering the online marketing game, clearing up the confusion, and today we're going to hone in on just one specific topic.
Yep.
So we won't ramble on. Yelp and reviews, and remind me to talk about how contractors are at a disadvantage in this whole thing right now. So anyway, news this week was that Yelp would start it's like a big deal because Yelp started as mainly into restaurants and foodies, coffee shops, cafes, all that stuff, and pretty much grew huge with that. I mean, they're a $3 billion, $4 billion valuation company, right? Nowhere near the penetration of, say, Facebook or Google when it comes to eyeballs. But big with the whole brick and mortar, mainly restaurants reviews. And then over time, they've added other categories. And now the whole thing is they're going to push to monetize and become known for those other categories. Right. So it's almost like they got big with the restaurants and cafes and food, and now it's like, no, we're a review platform for all businesses. And the big deal was that, and the fact that they were going to do this request a quote feature. And we'll just discuss that real quick. What's your take on Yelp?
Well, I mean, we've always used it, just as I'm sure you have, for clients. Like when you talk about online presence, like one of the first things I do when I work with a client is I Google their business name and I see how they show up. Like what does it look like?
That Yelp listing will show up.
Yeah, Yelp is usually on the first page, somewhere on the first page.
It's assuming very relevant.
Assuming they've claimed it. Your website's important. Your Google business page is probably the most important page, in my opinion, other than your website on the internet. And then you have all these. There's literally hundreds of these citation sites, and Yelp is one of those. Yeah. So I've always been a fan of claim the free listings. Don't pay anything for any of them. That's
when you claim that free listing, you will be attacked, bombarded by the Yelp salespeople.
That's
and I guess here's a side note. Here's what I've advised clients: just never get into a long-term contract with Yelp. And how I usually throw it out there is that, these guys are trying to charge the same amount of money as, say, Facebook and Google. Like they almost want you to almost spend the same amount of money with them as you would with Facebook and Google, but it doesn't make sense because they don't have the attention. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of that?
I have categorically always said don't pay them any money. I've never advised Yelp advertising is a great idea. Right. There's so many other better ways.
I think it's just overpriced.
I think it's overpriced, and I've never seen anybody say here's how much closed business I've gotten out of Yelp. Like with the stuff we do with Google and Facebook, you can track back and see how much actually business we got from this, and if it makes sense. But that's why I'm hesitant to ever recommend that to anybody.
I remember one of my clients out in California was being hounded by Yelp, and this probably has happened 10 times, but I just remember this conversation specifically, and it was just like, hey, let's look at your stats, let's look at your analytics over the last 6 months, see how much actual natural traffic you're getting as a result of Yelp. And it was 1% of his overall web visitors was coming from Yelp. So it just didn't make sense. I think maybe less than 1%.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole? Well, what do you think about the whole? Hey, we're going to be a review platform for every business.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, I've had landscaper clients where we help them claim their Yelp listing, as I'm sure you have. So businesses outside of the typical restaurant or travel, kind of thing, where it's a local contractor, parking lot line stripe or whatever.
Martial arts
school. I think it is a good idea to claim the listing manually for that case, and encourage some of your customers to leave reviews there. Because I always think, we were just talking with Steph at Truber here, thank you Truber for letting us shoot at your establishment once again. I think it is important to claim your listings and get your customers over there that are happy, that will leave you good reviews, because the best defense is a good offense when it comes to reviews, where you're proactively saying, hey, how'd we do? When they say, you did great, you're awesome, Kyle, you're awesome, Mike, my next thing is saying, hey, that's awesome. Online reviews are really important in this day and age. Would you mind going here and leaving us a review?
And the reason why most businesses in general will get there's a slant when it comes to food because again, Yelp is known for food, but most businesses in general will have say more Facebook ratings or equal to their Google ratings, as many reviews, and then you always see like a drop off. Again, non-food we're talking here because that's almost the topic of this conversation. Because less people have Yelp accounts.
Sure.
You know.
Yep.
So of course, you can nudge and you can play offense.
Yep.
And I guess it's just like any other tech company.
Yep.
You know, sometimes they start off in a niche, and then they explode. And then Facebook started it as a college thing, right? So, they're just following the same path and trying to make more money, trying to grow their company naturally.
Yep.
So I guess the other question would be, all right, getting into the contractors in the limited time we have. What about the whole request a quote? Like it's a big deal. Yelp is going to let you request a quote from a contractor.
So that's interesting. Like I didn't know about that until you told me the other day when we were talking about this show idea. So that was news to me. I don't know. I've never been like super into the whole request a quote
from another property.
From another property. Yeah.
Meaning web property.
Yeah, exactly. Where they go to Yelp and say, yeah, I'd like to get a quote from this contractor and 10
well, here's how it works, by the way, right? So basically, you can go to Yelp, and if you have, I think if you're a contractor or in that type of business is going to give quotes out, and you've claimed your page, you can activate the request a quote function. I don't know if it's going to be automatically activated. So you can just like you can activate on Facebook, you know, send me a message or something, right? So now what happens when you go to ask that business for a quote? Even if they didn't pay any ads for it, you can check a box and say you want to have up to 10 bids and 10 quotes.
So I'm the business owner, or as the end user.
I'll be the consumer. I have the ability to request a quote from you, Kyle's Contracting, Kitchen Remodeling, and then I can also check a box that says, you know what, and I want 10 more quotes from other.
That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. Yeah. As a consumer, I wouldn't want that many quotes.
It's almost like government low bid work.
I know.
It almost comes into.
Yeah, I think it commoditizes you if you're a contractor.
It sucks.
Yeah, that's not a great place to be. I'll be interesting to see if that takes off or if it just dies on the vine, kind of situation. So, I mean, I don't know. My advice to business owners still wouldn't change. Like I think you claim the important ones. Yelp's on the list, unfortunately, and you get people to leave reviews, and you kind of. And I would never pay them money. Honestly, that's it.
So then I guess what I would say on the whole quote thing would be, yes, it's not a good thing, especially if you have, as we all know in work, in contracting work, it's not just I want to remodel my bathroom, I want to remodel my kitchen, or I need some plumbing work done, AC work done, heating work done.
Yeah.
It's very important who the hell is doing it.
That's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
So it's probably a bad thing that hopefully the consumer is not just going to be in this low bid mode, which kind of sucks for the business that they're going to be in that sort of pool of 10 bids.
Right.
On the surface, it may seem like it's good for the consumer, possibly.
Yeah.
May drive prices down, but I would say maybe let those leads flow in, activate it. Why not? It could be a flow of leads. And if you're quicker at following up, if you're better at consultative selling, if you're better at whatever value you're going to build, maybe you can win that bid without having to be the lowest price. But at the same time, what do we talk about all the time? Why wouldn't we just rather get them to our own website?
Exactly. Yep. And that's ideally where you want to get them, because then you're controlling the sales conversation a little bit more. You have a nice digital curb appeal with a site that you build. You stand out from one of the contractors that's still rocking a 1982 website that's not mobile friendly.
And what if you're doing like Google Ads, right? And if you're doing Google AdWords, your ad is going to show up above the Yelp listing anyway.
I'm bypassing that whole commoditization thing, and I'm getting a good lead that you don't have to share with anybody else. Like it sounds like a Home Advisor kind of situation. Like Home Advisor, like as a contractor, you're paying for that, and they're going on running Google Ads just like I would. But then they're taking that lead that comes in and they're selling it to 5 of your competitors, So same kind of situation.
Same lesson. We're just going to keep saying the same thing over and over again. You can literally have your own digital strategy, your own digital footprint, and you may not shut these other things off.
Right.
Because you might get a few gems from here and there.
Yep.
And then if you're better at following up, I mean, how many quotes will come in from Yelp? Maybe they're not ready to buy anything just yet. They're not ready to do the whole thing. And they'll be sent out bids to these contractors, and then they'll never be put in like a email funnel or something like that too.
No follow up.
These are the ways you can stand out.
Yep.
Be in a hostile environment. and then still stand out.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
One of my mentors, she's got James Schramko. He says you want to own the race course. So I think this is like an own the race course kind of situation. Put yourself in the best possible selling situation. Is you want to claim those properties, have good content, and just like we're doing, here, hopefully you like this. But
we don't care.
Own the race course, and claim those properties and have your own web property, and everything's trying to funnel into that, ideally, or into a lead generation kind of situation from a landing page. But you're still trying to own all those properties, manage them, control the whole race course, so you're not victim to any of the
you're not being
changes.
passive.
Yeah,
you're not being
exactly.
passive with these changes, and hopefully you tune into the show, or you're on your email list, my email list, and we throw out these nuggets here and there.
Sure.
Naturally, if you're working with us as clients, of course, you'll know this stuff coming in and how you might be able to sort of take advantage of it. So.
Yeah, I think it's important, because I think I see it all the time where I Google somebody's business name, and there's this, Yelp property with and all their other reviews are great. But then there's a Yelp listing with a 1-star review, and it's the only review that they have. Right. Like that could have been averted just by getting some reviews on there and proactively, target, like spend a week, email some of your customers that have left you great reviews on Google or Facebook, and say, hey, would you mind going to Yelp and leaving a review there?
The last thing I want to say too, and we'll close on this, is at the end of the day, like this show has definitely been focused more on kind of the non-foodies, even a business that doesn't necessarily have a brick and mortar, say contractors and stuff like that, they're at a disadvantage when it comes to reviews. Right now, Google reviews are kind of popping up a lot more because what's happening, and Facebook reviews too, is what's happening is your phone's on you, it's geotagged to the location that you are, and Google is actually going to send you a push notification, ask you to leave a review. So in a way, Google, to build up their own stockpile of content, is almost doing your work for you if you have a brick and mortar, because it's tied to your tied to your phone. However, when you're a plumber, when you're in the trades, when you're a home remodel, they're not coming to you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So Google is not doing that for.
That's your point.
They don't know oh, you just hired so and so landscaper to do your yard. Oh, it was the guy we met with this morning, right?
Yeah.
You just hired whole 9 to do your yard, right? Yeah. They have no freaking clue that happened. Yeah. So I guess the last takeaway is, and we can segue into other shows, is that if you're in a business that is you've got the geographic radius, but they're not coming to you, you need to be on the offensive when it comes to your online presence.
Yep.
Google and Yelp and Facebook, they're not doing it for you
because
there's no geo-target.
Yeah, it's critical. So. You got to do that. And that's part of owning the race course, is you got to say, hey, I need you to go over here and help us out. We did a good job. So.
All right, so there it is. Yelp, quotes, still talking about online presence. We definitely beat this topic up.
Hopefully you get it. Yeah, exactly. It's so important. You can't underplay it, for sure.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Catch you later.